that works. I'm going to do a test of this telephone here. That one works. This is the test phone. Oops. Anyway, it is the mouse again, or this is the mouse with a review on this. Not so much a review, but a demonstration, maybe a review, whatever, on this hospital telephone. This is a very interesting telephone that I got in the mail a couple days ago. I'm here to debunk a myth. Some people say that if you want a hospital phone, you have to rent one from the hospital, and you physically have to be there at the hospital. The truth is, you don't. You do not have to be there at the hospital to use one of their phones. Because you can buy a phone, you can buy that same phone online and have it delivered at the fastest in 2 days. And that is what I did. And this phone, altogether, this phone was $16 plus shipping, which was about $27. That brought the price up to like $27.65. And it was definitely worth that $27 because this phone has very good audio quality to it. I've never actually made a call with it other than on my test line. So I really don't know how it would sound in a real life application, but based on what I'm getting from my test line, it actually sounds very good, and I'll do a little bit of talking about my test line later. But yeah, this is the phone itself. It is a single-piece hospital telephone with a visual ringer on it. Most all the hospital phones nowadays do have visual ringers, except there is one light above the on-off button on the phone, and this phone does not need a base. It's actually got an on-off button on it, as I'm going to demonstrate now. Okay. That's the phone actually ringing, or that was the phone being picked up. The switch above the one key is the ringer on-off, or the ringer up and down switch. There's this one big rectangular thing, or what looks like a rectangular thing, with what looks like a pyramid thing on the side. That is responsible for controlling your volume on your handset. However, that does not control the outgoing mic volume, but it does control the volume of the audio. As you just heard, like that. Hang up. Hang up. Anyway, I think we can go ahead and call this up, but I'm going to have to turn the recorder off and switch over to a different microphone to do the rest of this with. Thank you. Alright, I am back again. This time I'm on a different microphone, so I'm going to sound slightly worse than I did with the other microphone. I was just testing out a wireless microphone that I just so happened to have. So we're going to go ahead and put this onto the thing here. First things first, we are actually going to call it up via the test phone. So that's the phone right there. It's ringing. That's a couple rings on high volume. That's a third ring on high volume. Okay, so let's go ahead and just set this aside. But what I'm actually going to do is I am actually going to go ahead and do an audio test on this phone. Hold on just a minute. Right here is where the phone is going to sit. Oops. Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, hello. This is an audio test of the L.T.E ST-37V Hospital telephone. And this is a receive test. Again, this is a receive test. We are going to next do a transmit test. Alright, anyway, that was a receive test of that phone. Now let's go ahead and do a transmitting test. In this case, I'm going to have the earpiece of this test phone over the microphone of the iPad. I'm going to have it positioned slightly right there. I'm actually going to go ahead and mute it. So we go ahead and make that call. Alright, before we actually do make that call, I do want to go ahead and call the test phone to demonstrate that, yeah, it does dial out. I'm going to take this off, put this back on. It's dialing. That's ringing. The next thing we're going to do is we are actually going to go ahead and do a transmitting test on this phone. Go ahead and pick up the line. This is a transmit test on the L.T.E Hospital telephone. This is a test of the transmit on the L.T.E Hospital phone, model ST-37V. This is made by Phones on Sale. This is an audio test. Thank you. Well, that was an audio test of that. That was an audio test of the transmit The test phone does ring and dial out as well. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it calling this phone. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it again calling this phone. So here is the receiver for the test phone. Here it is. I'm going to pick it up, make a call. That is ringing as of right now. Audio check, 1, 2. Okay. Now I do want to talk a little bit about this hospital telephone and how I came upon it. Oh, and another thing I should talk about. This hospital telephone actually does have a very long cord on it. I actually uncoiled the cord, and this thing was about, without this, it was about 15 feet long. So this has got a nice, really long cord on it. Yeah, I would definitely give this telephone a 5 out of 5 stars for sound quality, audio quality on transmit, audio quality on receive, ringer quality, and really nice dialing as well. Really easy to dial, really easy to use. I would definitely recommend this particular hospital telephone to anybody that wanted a hospital phone but really didn't want to go to the hospital to rent one. But you don't have to go to the hospital to rent a phone like that anymore. You can go online, do a quick search for a single-piece hospital telephone. You will definitely find one. You might not find one for this good of a price, but trust me, it'll be very close to that. And you'll find one just like this one. Just like the 37V that I have. This is an M-Cheetah call center dial pad phone. That is what I'm using as my test phone. The Grandstream HT-802 is a 2-port analog telephone adapter, and I'm using that as my fake phone line. As basically a phone analyzer. This LED will glow red when the phone is picked up. So this means when you hit this button that's above the 3 key, when you push that button in, that LED glows red. When the phone is ringing, the LED on the back of here, which is a visual ringer, that too glows red. Or that glows a different color, but it does light up to let you know that, hey, the phone's ringing. And that's a very convenient feature for people who are hard of hearing, especially the good receive audio. Although I'm not hard of hearing, I am visually impaired, and I like to have a good audio quality telephone. For me, it is actually kind of difficult for me to use a mobile phone because of my visual impairment. Even though some of the mobile phones have voiceover and stuff like that, you physically have to swipe and look for things. I don't, in an emergency, I would not have time to be swiping through things to look for the emergency button. I wouldn't have time to do that. Versus this landline phone where if I had an emergency and this was actually connected up to a real line, I could physically dial for help like that. And it would definitely work really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and give you some dial tone again. There's your dial tone. Alright, well, I think it is going to come to a close now. This phone actually is a basic telephone, but it is arranged in such a way that for me it is a very unusual telephone, but I really like it. These little vent things on the back that look like vents, that is your ringer speaker. This does have an electronic ringer in it, and the L.T.E actually has a variable ringer switch, as I told you about earlier. Overall, I would definitely rate this phone a 5 out of 5 stars for really excellent performance. And I saw that this phone had not received any reviews, so I'm definitely going to be the first one to actually review this phone, and definitely not the last one. So go ahead, look it up on Amazon, single-piece hospital telephone. You'll find this exact model. Phones on Sale actually sells these. And I don't know how many they had in stock, but I know that they did have quite a few of them in stock. So go ahead and look for that. I'm not endorsing them, I'm just giving my true and honest opinion, and I really like this particular telephone for this reason. It's got good audio quality, and there's just not enough good things I can say about this particular telephone. Now, one weird quirk with this particular phone is that on the phone end, where the end plugs into the handset, there is an RJ22 connector. On the end that plugs into like your phone receptacle or something like that, there's your standard RJ11. That is really cool, but at the same time, that's a very unusual cord, especially knowing that this handset cord, there's a little bit of this that actually is a coil cord, and then the rest of this is just a straight cord. Which is what I really like about this phone, is because it's got a really unusual cord. Well, that's about it, people. That is about it. That is about it. Oh, and the reason why it was ringing unlike a normal phone line is because this analyzer, the ATA, when you do that command, like the ***70 command, when you do that command, it actually sends out a pulsed ringing signal, like beep, 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 beep. It doesn't actually make the beeping sound, but I'm doing it to the cadence that this ATA would do it to. Sometimes it would kind of whir a little bit, but it wouldn't. Sometimes it would kind of be a little bit later at doing it, but sometimes by milliseconds. This phone does not have flash, but you can always use your hook switch as your flash button. Good night.